Welcome to lesson 8 and here we go. Arbeiten Sie schon lange für Herrn Merkel? Now here we see second position is Sie. Schon, I don't see any verb, or actually you might see the verb already in the very beginning. And if that is the case, you know verbs usually are in second position and at the end, and now we have a third possibility and we're done with that then. It is the first word, and that always indicates for now a question. There's other instances, but actually only one that we have to be concerned about, but we get there when it shows up in the course. So if you start a question with a verb, that's like in English, do you? Yeah, then you can do that. You cannot say worketh you already long for Mr. Merkel. It's do you work? Have you been working long already? So have you, do you, in English you cannot just say worketh you. Yeah? It's a bit Shakespearean. So work. And now you see en, it would indicate more than one person at the end of the verb, but you have the capital Z, which is always easy to remember, sir. Of course it's also madam, but madam doesn't make a good memory hook here. Yeah? So if a sir is addressed, of course a madam is also addressed, and whatever gender, actually it's not necessarily gender specific. So yeah, arbeiten Sie, worketh. Yeah, let's do it like this. Schon lange. Schon you will come across more and more often. I'll talk maybe later about it. So the only thing you need to keep in mind is that schon is not schön. Schon, schön. Yeah, the umlaut makes a difference because schön has these two little dots and that makes it so beautiful. And that's also what it means. Schön means beautiful. If you want to learn schon and schön, you can say schon schön, schon schön. Schon schön would basically mean quite, it's okay, it's quite beautiful. But schon on its own means already. And as you know, already in English is spelled like this. Already. Yeah? Maybe that helps you to remember. So schon means already, of course with an A, but here with an O. And schön means beautiful. So, and schon lange, yeah, already, and lange, well, it's almost like in English, what do you think? Already, for a long time. We don't have to say time in German. Für is a tricky one, but if it's with a name, it's definitely always for. So how long have you been working for Mr. Merkel? Oh ja, wir kennen uns noch aus der Schulzeit. Oh ja, it's kind of an expression. Let's ignore this for now. You don't have to know these. So kennen is the verb, and you might remember from the beginning we talked about different ways of knowledge. Kennen means to know. And you see here, if I take this away, then we have the same beginning at least. Yeah. So do you know Kenny? Maybe that is easy to remember. So it's really about being acquainted with someone. Yeah. So uns is very easy. Just kill the n and you have the English word. We know us, and of course that means each other. Noch we cover later. Aus, out. Doesn't really work, but in this case from the Schulzeit. Zeit is tricky, but you know the word Zeitung maybe, which is the newspaper, and interestingly wise, it is the same word. So, but there's no connection. Zeit means time, so somehow a newspaper is maybe putting or holding onto the time, the current time, is printing what is happening at a time in German. Yeah, and Schule looks a little bit like the English word. If I'm a bit creative, actually school. Schul, school. Pretty close, right? So we know each other from the time in school. Wir sind schon lange befreundet. Verb is sind, and then we look at the end, of course. Befreundet. Yeah, and we again have schon lange, because that was also in the question already for a long time. And in befreundet you find the word Freund, which means friend. And befreundet somehow implies a connection, so literally it would be befriended, but in English you would of course say we've been friends for a long time. Und als ich letztes Jahr meine Stelle als Inneneinrichter verloren habe, let's take a look at the verbs. Just quick check. I only see habe at the end, which you might remember is caused by the als. But habe on its own needs a partner, and the partner, if habe is at the end, the partner is next to it always. Yeah? Without the als, just to give you a little idea, and again this is a bit ahead of time, you would have to put habe back on its second position. The als is pushing it away. It's like a bully. I call als a pusher. And then you see habe is here, and as always verloren is at the end. But the als just pushes the habe, yeah, says habe, piss off, and then it has to go to the very end. Very simple. But this will come later. So, when, remember, right? When and letzt is an interesting one. It's a bit different from English, but not much. If you have this, you see the similarity more easily. Letzt, last, but it is a TZT. Last, Jahr, remember that? Y-A-E-I-R, year, Jahr. Meine, and it sounds like mine, and it basically means that. Just have to adjust the grammar, my. And Stelle, you remember stellen, with the feet to the right. And that means to place, so my place, or another word is my position. Als, we can again just take the L out. Inneneinrichter, that's an interesting word. Innen, well, it's the same in English, inner. Ein, you remember inside, yeah? Well, Richter would be a judge, but ein Einrichter, so it's not a judge of inner processes, it is an interior, and the Einrichter is a designer. How that kind of relates, I really don't know. But Richter, richten also means to make straight. Yeah, make things straight. So someone who makes things straight inside is ein Inneneinrichter, an interior designer. Lovely one. So he lost his, well, I didn't say that yet, but okay, he lost his position as Inneneinrichter last year. And the verloren here, you have a word in English that's forlorn, but it's a bit out of date. Well, let's see what the, yeah, they translate it as verloren. So basically lost, to lose, but forlorn is a nice way to remember this. Yeah, so he has lost his position. Oh wait, let's stick to this. Because. Yeah, this whole sentence here is position 1. And that's why here we start with position 2. So, has he, mir, you just kill the R, you have me, simple German. Netterweise, net and weise. Net you will learn, it's not nice to throw a net over people. Yeah, and the internet is also not a nice place. So net means nice. And netterweise, the ER is basically a connection between net and weise. Weise is the same in English, wise. So nice-wise, so nicely, in a nicely manner. Weise is a manner. Diesen, do you remember this? D turns into TH, I, this. Job is easy. And vermittelt is interesting because we again have the word mit here. You remember Mittwoch? Yeah, and mitteln, middle. So somehow he put himself in the middle to get him this job. Vermitteln, I would have to look up. he kind of organized the job for him. He mediated einen Job vermitteln, to arrange. That's a good way to say that. But he put himself in the middle. So ein Vermittler is someone who is in the middle between two parties. Yeah? Lovely stuff. Next. Was genau machen Sie denn für ihn? Fragt ihn Simone. Fragt ihn Simone is clear, I hope. Yeah? And again, ihn is almost the same as ihm. When to use ihn and ihm, that will be covered in the course. For you, for understanding, it's just playing around and so you understand. So fragen, I hope you remember that. Fraggles, ask a lot of questions. Ask Simone. So who's asking? Of course, Simone. Yeah, because ihn can never be the subject, the doer of things. So was genau machen Sie denn für ihn? Take a look. 1, 2. No verb here because the ending u doesn't exist and the end of verbs. So we see machen, and hopefully by now you recognize verbs more easily. This is the verb. That means these two are position 1. Yeah, they belong together. They are one unit. So this is position 2. Who is, and machen should be easy to recognize for you. It is basically M-A-K-E. Yeah, the CH in English you would pronounce machen if you didn't have any training. So that might help you remember this. To make. And who is making something? The capital Z, Sir. So the author or the person here that's speaking is formally addressing a person directly. Yeah. So, Sir, what exactly are you doing? Für ihn, and you again have für. For now that means for, and ihn, you know, the H in the middle just likes to go to the left, for him. Yeah, and you see whether it's ihn or ihm, both are translated with him, but in German you cannot just arbitrarily exchange those. You will learn this. The topic here is cases, German cases. Ich kümmere mich um sein Ferienhaus. Ferienhaus we already had. It's a house. Even if you don't remember that people celebrate and create a fire when they celebrate in their holidays, and usually school holidays, you know, it's a house. So what is he doing with this house? Kümmern. And the mich, it's me, myself. So kümmern, what to do? It's the infinitive of this is sich kümmern. I have no clue for you to how to hook that to English, because it means to take care of. Yeah, maybe you take care of Jimmy Kimmel. Maybe that's close enough to kümmern. Yeah, or there's an English word for that sounds similar to Kimmer. I don't know. You take care. So he's taking care. And this is then clear. In English you would say of, but you cannot always translate yeah, just that you know. So the holiday home.